2. Check 2. 2, hello. How is this? Is this better? Is this working now? Is this shit working? Much better, okay. Started with the old VPN on again. The old VPN mistake. The old VPN trick. Which didn't quite work. And then I tried to take off the VPN and then shit was just not working. Is that a French popsicle, an American popsicle, or a Russian popsicle? I think this is a Canadian popsicle. Usually the ones at the grocery store, the 3 flavored popsicles that are at the grocery store, are different colors than this. This is the traditional American 3-color popsicle. But they do have now like a generic version of this at the grocery store with the cherry on top, the lemon, and the blue raspberry. Normally, the three color popsicle that I get is cherry on top, lime middle, and then purple grape base. It is in fact the traditional Juche popsicle. I think I prefer lime over lemon as well, but it's a nice little change. It's a nice little change. So is this shit working now? It seems to be working. Everything seems to be working. I got no more alerts going off. What are the lengths of your shorts today? Are you in summer mode? Am I ever, Squatch? Because if you're going to enjoy a nice popsicle, it's better to do that in your summer attire. Oh, yeah, that's good. It's good stuff. It's true. My thighs are very white. My thighs don't see a lot of sun. I'm hoping to change that this year. That seems to be a 5-inch inseam ready for summertime pair of shorts. It is indeed. It is indeed. Tuned in for politics and got some thigh action instead. Listen, this is a variety show. You never know what you're going to get. The man spread with the bomb pop. I can't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Goober not. Listen, this is a variety show. We talk about the news. We talk about politics. We talk about pop culture. We talk about sports. And every now and then I just coast on my raw sexual charisma. Okay? We do all kinds of things on this program. It's a thirst trap. That's what it is. I feel like I'm getting a lot of chatters that I don't see that often. The thighs are really bringing out the chatters that I'm less familiar with. Doc, I haven't changed anything on the mic. It's time Rob stopped coasting on his raw sexual charisma. I mean, I understand how it's frustrating. Believe me. Believe you me. It's summer, though. Yesterday was the first day of summer. We've got to ring in the summer properly. I wouldn't go that far. I'm just super down bad. Well, you're welcome here. King of Barbies. Hot tub stream session. I mean, if I've promised it for a long time. I do have I don't have a hot tub. I do have a large bath though. Like in theory, I could do some kind of a bubble bath, something. I don't know though. That may be taking things a little bit far. That would probably get this channel banned from Twitch. Forget all the like genocide denial and tanky shit that goes on here. That's going to be the thing that really nails me. If I start going down that kind of road. I think that's trouble. That's going to get us all in trouble. Spent the first day of summer hand washing my 2002 Toyota Camry with shorts and flip-flops on. Hell yeah, brother. Self-care stream. Rita's capital from the bath with a nice glass of wine and a face mask on. You know, that does sound kind of nice. That does sound kind of nice, I must admit. It's not a Toyota if it's not 20 years old. That sounds pretty sick, I must admit. Bring some more Marxist analysis to the hot tub section. This is a very refreshing popsicle. What's up, Gabby? What's going on? I'm having a big time treat day today. I'm eating a bunch of sugary treats today. It's probably not good. I had a Danish for lunch with my coffee, and now I'm following it up with a popsicle. Yeah, Gabby. So you just followed the channel recently. I don't really know you, so I'm gonna not to be mean, but I'm gonna say no to that question. No disrespect intended, though. You ate a Danish person. No, not a Danish person. No. Lodane, the pre-show looked good from what I saw. I hope that was a success. I'm dropping this all over the floor. If I had a Danish person, it would of course be comrade, social distancing, out of respect. Yeah. Same with me. Same with me. There's only one Danish person that I would ever consider eating. I'm so glad I lost my sweet tooth as I got older. I used to eat so much trash, and now I just don't get the urge very often. It was hard because for many years I didn't really eat anything sugary. Okay. I spent a long time not eating anything sugary, and then I think having kids was a problem for that, because then there's all, you end up having sweet treats all the time in the house. And I have a hard time not eating things when they're in the house.
Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Oh my goodness gracious. Lucid, thanks for the raid. Thank you for the raid, Lucid. I appreciate that. Hey, check this out. Check this shit out. Hey, Nicotine, what's up? Check this out. Hello, everyone. Hello. Sorry, I'm just eating my popsicle here. I'll just be one moment. I'll be with you in one moment. Here. Now I got a popsicle in my hand.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through.
Now I got a popsicle in my hand. Now it's a handsicle. That's right. What did I walk into? I don't know.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Lucid Tea Hype, Lucid Hype. We're in Lucid Tea Hype, Lucid Hype.
I don't know what you just walked into. I felt like I got that generous raid from Lucid, so I wanted to make sure everyone knew what they were getting into right off the bat. Hang on just one sec, because now I have popsicle in my head. I gotta go wash it off. I got 5-inch inseam gang going on too. Good. Nicotine. Lucid also in 5-inch inseam gang. Very nice. Very nice. Next, I bought some like orange and pink ones. They're like a pinkish orange color. Those are the other pair that I got. Maybe I can bust those out next time. When I posted about my shorts on Twitter, the musician and YouTuber Justin Wang told me that he's on 3 inches now. 3-inch inseam. And I was like, oh my God. That's like, I feel like I would need to work up to that. I got my Iverson basketball shorts on right now. I mean, I used to be a big basketball shorts wearer too. I grew up in the 90s. That's the weird thing about these shorts. It's the weird thing about these shorts. I put these shorts on, and I'm just like, wow, my whole life, as long as I've been like aware of my body, as long as I can remember, I'm almost 40 fucking years old. As long as I've been aware of my body, I've been embarrassed and ashamed to wear shorts like this. I've been embarrassed and ashamed of my body and my thighs. My whole life I've said, oh, I can't wear a short, it can't go up my thighs. Oh no, it's so embarrassing. The 40s is the time for short shorts, that's right. I feel like I gotta lean right into I already lean really heavily into the dad look, so now I'm really taking that to the next level. Your thighs are beautiful, sweetie. Thank you, Pride Bars. I appreciate that. Valentitucci Daddy Shorts era. Oh, by the way, thank you so much to King of Barbies for gifting a sub to Lucid. Very much appreciated, King of Barbies, and thanks also to Irate Lump for the whopping 18 months of Tier 1. Thank you, Irate Lump. Appreciate that. How was the Lucid stream? Was that good? Now I feel like I was just starting the stream. I was going to talk about random bullshit and just show my thighs and stuff. Now that we got viewers, I feel like I need to be skipping the whole chit-chat part. Usually I have a whole chit-chat segment where we talk about random stuff, whatever's going on, and just kind of shoot the breeze, as it were. For me, comfort reigns supreme. It was 101 here yesterday, so I'm going short. That's good to know, Matt. Good to hear. Same with me. It's not getting any cooler in the summer, right? I think that's something we all acknowledge. It's not getting any cooler. Shoot the breeze and show the knees. That's right. It's not getting any cooler in the summer, so you might as well just like accept that. And we shouldn't be governed, especially if you're like a grown adult, like almost a middle-aged man, as I am. I feel like I should no longer be ashamed of my body, any part of my body. And I should not be constrained by these fears I have about how I'm being perceived or anything like that. I'm too old for that shit now. The fact is, my 5-inch inseam shorts are very comfortable. I like it. And frankly, I like my legs. I think my legs are some of my best features. And I think that I am allowed to show that off, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it's in fact good to do. No, this is bad. Be ashamed. Shorts are the devil's pants. No way. No way. Not to be parasocial, but I got a little excited when I saw Hassan Piker bring up your tweet from the other day, and I made 5 clips capturing his entire react to your tweet. I was going to DM or Discord you. I don't know how. It has 5 separate links, but they're synced chronologically. I didn't realize that. What tweet was that, Only Fact? Was that the train thing? You can DM that to me or on Discord or wherever. That's funny. I want to see the PP hanging out the bottom of your shorts, fellas. Okay, see, that would be a problem for me, Marina. That would be a problem in terms of Twitch, TOS, and that kind of stuff. I appreciate the sentiment, of course. I appreciate the sentiment, but that would be probably a little bit much. Yeah, Twitter DM is fine, Only Fact. I'd like to check that out. I haven't talked to Hassan in a while. Hassan was on my previous podcast, 49th Parahell, and he was on the Insurgents podcast a bunch of times. But since the last time he was on, he's really like blown up in popularity, and he's become like super big, famous celeb. Doesn't have quite the same time to devote to us working class, salt of the earth, lunch pail, roll up the sleeves, content miners. As he may have at one point. He's walking around his mansion, his big house, and everything, all that stuff. The blue collar streamers, brother. That's right. I would be interested to see his react to my tweet, though. Maybe you could send a few of those followers this way as well. That could be something. And we're not going to do discourse about Hassan. It's been one of the most divisive subjects that like ever comes up in this community. We're not going to do Hassan discourse beyond my little jokey comment that I just made. It rolls up the sleeves of the shorts, the salt of the earth. That's right. He sucks ass at basketball. That's my discourse. I mean, listen, I don't want to, while we're talking about Hassan looking at my tweet on his stream, I don't want to make fun of the guy. The rumor is that back in the TYT days, Dave Rubin crossed him up during a pickup game. And he like damaged his knee permanently because Dave Rubin crossed him up. He crossed him up, folks. He ankle snapped right in half. That's what the streets are saying. Listen, I'm just repeating what I heard. That's all. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not true. I don't know if it's a rumor. Who knows? I'm just saying there has been reporting that is mentioned that. There has been reporting that indicated that Hassan got his ankles broken by Dave Rubin. The streets is talking. Maybe you can come on the stream and clear these rumors up. Okay, I'm not gonna do more Hassan discourse. That would be cool. I'd be happy to have Hassan. I'd be great to talk to him again. You can't see this on the stream because he's sitting. I heard Hassan's ankles are still dust. Yeah, they just like took all the dust and then injected it back into the foot area, and he's just kind of walking around on these like dusty nubs now. Fucking Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin is such a pathetic loser.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Disturbo, thank you very much for the 8 months of Tier 1. Thanks, Disturbo. Dusty nubs, that's right. His ankle went back into the left. Correct. Dave Rubin is such a pathetic loser. I saw that clip from him the other day. I mean, what a absolutely pathetic person who has like who was like formerly sort of a ostensible liberal or whatever, who sold out, took the Koch brothers money, did the whole like why I left the left routine, took the billionaire conservative dark money funding to do his media career, and is like allowing himself to be used to like whitewash this extremely reactionary and bigoted conservative movement by giving them this kind of cover of like, look how they're more inclusive than the left because I am gay and I am of course accepted in these conservative circles, which he is not. He sucks up to Ben Shapiro and kisses Ben Shapiro's ass. And then in that interview, a year or two ago, he was like, "But Ben, you would come to my party for my wedding, right? If I invited you." And Ben Shapiro was kind of like, no, I don't think so. And Dave is just like, okay, I see. And just a pathetic person who has given up all pretense of having any like dignity, self-respect. And then there was that whole thing a few months ago where he's getting he and his husband are like having a baby through a surrogate, and he posted about that on Twitter, and all these like conservative influencers that he hangs out with are all in his replies being like, "That's disgusting. How dare you do that? How dare you?" Like that's how all his new friends are reacting to his announcement about having a baby. And then literally just the other day, he did another interview with Ben Shapiro where he was talking about that exact incident, and he was kind of like, well, no, it was a small subsection of really angry people that were like upset about it, when it was literally like all this, the IDW, all like the cool conservative clique that he like wants to be a part of. They were all just like, ew, it's disgusting that you're doing that. So absolutely pathetic shit. I mean, it's one thing when you sell out your ideals and whatever principles you might have for money. But then when you literally just like allow these fucking ghouls to just walk all over you as you provide them cover for their extremely reactionary, homophobic, bigoted movement. You provide them some cover with that, and you allow them to just walk all over you. It's truly, it's a unique level of pathetic that I think few people have reached. He sold out to purchase Hassan's ankles, which is respectable. That's the only accomplishment that he's ever had, you know? The only real accomplishment is snapping Hassan's ankles like twigs in pickup ball. And folks, as you all know, as you are all aware, I can hoop. Right? Repeat viewers of the channel know this, right? I can hoop. And I'm confident. I think I'm confident. I would definitely need to do some conditioning beforehand. I'm 100% confident that I could beat Dave Rubin in a game of one-on-one. 100% confident. And frankly, I think I could beat Hassan as well. Don't make me put on the hoop video. They call him Rob Hoops Russo. Hoops McCann. Hoops McCann. Special delivery for Hoops McCann. Rob dunked on me back in the 1996 Canadian National High School Championships. I could never dunk. Believe me, if I could dunk, I would be bragging about that. But I was never able to get there. It was a long-standing goal of mine that I never achieved, which is unfortunate, actually. How tall am I? I guess I'm like a hair under 6 foot. I'm about 5'11" or so. That was my whole thing, Marina, is that like when I was a kid, I was this tall when I was in like 6th grade. So at that time, well, maybe not, but like 7th grade. I was 7th grade. I said I was as tall as I am now. So I thought I was going to be like 6'4", 6'5", because I was like, I'm bigger than everybody. I'm going to be like really tall. But then that was my maximum though. So I thought I was going to be able to transition to the NBA, quite nicely. I thought for sure, like after high school, I'll be able to go to college and I'll go play in the NBA after. I'm going to be like 6'4", 6'5". I'll be good to go. And I just never grew anymore. Oh, man. Does the hair stand up when you measure the 6 foot? That's right. I do a Mohawk. If you can't dunk, why are people saying that you dunked on them? Something doesn't add up. I don't know. I don't know what that is. You would have had Rodman's spot on his trip to DPRK. I could have at least gone along. I could have at least tagged along. Did you play in college? No, by the time I actually got to university, I was less into it. Of course, I played throughout high school. By the time I got to university, I was more into like playing music and being in bands and stuff. So I kind of just, I didn't really continue pursuing it after high school. Doctor said I'd be 6'7" when I was a kid and fell well short of that, and you never trust a doctor. Yeah, I don't think anyone ever specifically told me this. I did like in my 8th grade yearbook, I did suggest that I wanted to be an NBA All-Star. That was my like future job. If it makes you feel better, I'm 6'5" and I refuse to play in the NBA because I'm morally opposed to the US. I mean, you gotta when you take a moral stance like that, you know, you could make Kingy Window, I'm sure, could make millions of dollars in the NBA, and choosing not to, precisely because of these like moral principles. I mean, we gotta celebrate that. We gotta celebrate that. Any chance of you playing one-on-one with Ben Shapiro? That I doubt. As much as he tries to cosplay as being like this like manly man sometimes, I don't think he's very like sportive. Play in the China League, come on. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Now if I felt like that was an option, maybe I would have pursued it still. I had to unfollow a streamer I liked last night because he called you a fucking lib. Oh my gosh. That's funny. People have one thing I've noticed about like on the online world, streaming and Twitter, whenever I try to avoid paying attention to any of this stuff, but people have a very distorted idea about me, and they've like there's a lot of people that seem to they have a certain perception of me that is based entirely on like just I don't even understand where it comes from. I don't know. But oh well. People get really wrapped up with the clout shit, I'll tell you that much. Oh, Julian's a friend though, old driver. I think that was probably, he was being facetious. His Julian's wife is like is in this community and is often like hanging out here. So that I think that was probably someone being as like a joke. So I give you permission, old driver, to refollow Julian. I do, yeah, I give everyone, in case anyone was unsure about this, you do have my permission to continue following. Yeah, I watched a bit of that too, G Club. He was watching last night. He was watching the urine drinking documentary. And listen, I went into it with not a very open mind, but some of what I was hearing there made a lot of sense, frankly. I watched about 5 minutes and it was too much. Yeah, it was a lot. It was indeed a lot. Yeah. We're the Juche supporting libs. There are dozens of us. Did you see Dora and Hinkle raving about the Colombian Trump? Yeah, the real lefty. The real lefty. And like it's stupid because sometimes with both of those guys, I don't like either of those guys, but sometimes both of those guys will come out with foreign policy opinions that I more or less agree with. But like that is fucking out of left field. That is bizarre. was the guy that let that lady spray a gigantic stream of piss on his face at that music festival. I don't think he was in the documentary, but reminding me of that now, that was indeed. That was like a lot of pee. I remember when that video came out, I was seeing tweets about like someone getting peed on at a music festival. And I was kind of like, okay, well, I mean, how bad can that be? Why is everyone talking about this? I mean, it's probably not that big of a deal. And I watched it kind of like, okay, yeah, no, that was indeed. Like, physiologically, I don't even understand how that made sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how that works. Like, where was that coming from even? It was like a pressure washer, yeah.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I can show you how it works.
I can show you my pee. Thank you, really chill guy, for the 19 months of Tier 1 and for all the support. Thank you. I hope everyone listened to our Insurgents episode with Adam Conover, who has a brand new show on Netflix. And he was a really great guest.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Effusive Stoicism. Thanks for the 8 months of Tier 1. Thank you. By the way, I did adjust some settings last night. I made it slightly more difficult to trigger hype trains and slightly more difficult to like get through them. I don't know if that's going to have like an impact. We'll see. They're now like a little bit more difficult to trigger, and it's not quite as simple to get the 5 levels of it. I thought it was Conover, not conifer. Is Adam a tree? You're probably right. You're probably right. Lighting 17% more bisexual. No, it's just what I was noticing is that they would often like they would get triggered so easily that often they would get triggered like at the very beginning of the show when there's not even that many viewers, and then it gets kind of wasted and then it cools down for like 2 hours. So I just made it like slightly more difficult to trigger them to see if it would be more of a big deal. Gets triggered easily just like me. That's right. Me too. I'm kind of interested in seeing this here that OnlyFact sent. Let's see here. I'm kind of interested in seeing this. Let's see. It's the man himself. The man himself.
Oh my god, Rob's fucking tweet popped off, dude. Please just build a fucking train. I just don't understand what this is. Like, why? What the fuck is this?
It's so stressful looking at Hassan's chat.
This is a joke, right?
It's so stressful.
What the fuck? Bro, I can see this being disastrous, okay? I'm already imagining this being an absolute disaster. Just fucking falling on everyone there and just mowing through that crowd.
His chat is so stressful.
I also don't understand why, like...
A society...
I don't understand why... Oh my god, Rob's... fucking tweet popped off, dude. I don't understand why. I don't understand why they just don't make a train. I don't. Put that on my beach and I'll become a terrorist? What do you mean? Okay, well, don't do that. What? I just don't think physically this works. You know what I mean? It's like, how does this stay? Like, I feel like a light breeze would tip this shit over, you know? I don't understand how this, like, is supposed to work. It's got to be a joke, right? There's no way this is, like, serious. It's as serious as forgetting the top of the hour ad break at the top of the hour and then running it, like, 9 minutes into the broadcast instead of immediately. I don't understand why.
There we go. Pretty cool. We're moving up. We're moving up in the world. It's unreadable. No, I have no idea how. It's just seeing the speed of it is like upsetting to me. It's distressful to me. Hassan at the plastic surgery phase of fame. And people are saying like, do you want this? And it's like, frankly, not really. I'm glad to have the community that we have now, and like I like being able to be familiar with the people in the chat and to read it and to be able to interact with people. It would maybe be a little nice to, have a couple more folks in there, right? That wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. Maybe that's a bit much for me. I don't think I have many illusions about getting to Hassan level of Twitch fame. I don't think I have any illusions that I'm going to be going down that path anytime soon. Would I complain if we had another couple hundred viewers per episode? No. That would be nice. I don't want a huge chat. Rob will stop reading my comments and saying my dumb username. I'll never stop saying fartparty69. Rob's only asking for 10K viewers. Your brain does get used to the speed of chat the longer you spend in large streams. It is still difficult to follow for long periods of time, too. It just hurts my head to even look at it. Rob is a line, but fart party is not it. That's right. What if everyone goes out to the one side of that thing to look out the window? This is it. And there's this one moment in the video where it's like it shows it getting in a car accident and it just like goes to a stop. And it's like, what's going on inside that thing that people are just flying around in there? And the airbags are on the outside. That's right. That's right. It makes no sense. It looks like the inside of that plane from that Tom Cruise movie where all you could hear was his screaming. Outrun. Can we do a Top Gun movie night? I know that's not on like the list of like the 9,000 movie nights that are planned. I would really like to do a Top Gun movie night. One of these nights. I feel the need. I feel the need. This is when the chat comes through. We go one more time. I feel the need. The need for tweed. That's right. The need for speed. The need to watch U.S. propaganda from the 80s. That's right. I want to watch some nice Pentagon propaganda from the 80s to refresh my memory so I can go back for the 2022 propaganda. I can go back for some more slop from the Pentagon slop bucket. I feel the need for read a book in book club. And no, I wanted to do the original. I do want to see the new one, but I would like to see the original again because like I just genuinely love the movie. Tonight is Mission Impossible 3 in the Discord. Just pick a date and we'll make it happen. I don't think I can watch Mission Impossible 3, even though I really like Mission Impossible 3. One of the underrated Mission Impossible movies, and that was the one that kind of got the modern franchise up and running again. The need for leadership. The OG has the far better homoerotic scene. It's got an all-time great homoerotic scene, that's for sure. No, we don't need to do it tonight, Outrun. No, we don't need to do it tonight. Maybe tentatively on like Saturday, but I don't know, we'll see. And by the way, folks, if you are new to the community, please join the Discord server. Join the Discord server where we do these movie nights. We've been doing Mission Impossible. I'm often not able to go because I'm a parent and I'm not able to ever do anything at night, which is a whole thing that we don't need to get into. But you should join the Discord server for the amazing community and we have a bunch of different movie nights and a bunch of great stuff going on. The volleyball scene or the shower room bite scene. Come to think of it, there's a lot of homoerotic scenes in that movie. There's like in that moment when like the Dark Night of the Soul moment, I don't want to spoil Top Gun for anyone that hasn't seen it. But when Tom Cruise is just like in the bathroom, like in his tighty whities, just like contemplating life. It's a very homoerotic film, isn't it? Join the Discord server to watch movies and never talk about the band 311. The mods will not allow it. It's 311, isn't it? I said 311. 311. Come to think of it, there's a lot of bands we're just not allowed to talk about here. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. Come on. Oh, sorry, I'm not the world's biggest 311 fan. Oh, my apologies, everyone. Sorry, I didn't realize I was going to offend everyone's delicate sensibilities by misnaming the band 311. Sorry, I didn't realize that there's the big 311 fandom going on. Oh, my apologies. Oh, I'll try harder. You don't sound really sorry. Are we allowed to talk about Nickelback? I mean, I guess so. The truth about Nickelback, that not a lot of people want to hear this. But of course, since I'm a brave, intrepid truth teller, I'm willing to say what others are not able to say. The reality is, Chad Kroeger of Nickelback, I don't really like the sound of his voice when he sings. Like that kind of stuff, like that doesn't really do it for me. I don't really enjoy it. However, Chad Kroeger of Nickelback, one of modern rock's best songwriters, hands down. Hands down. That's just the reality. You don't have to like it, right? You don't have to like this. You don't have to like it. It's just true. You don't have to like it, but accept it. I wouldn't say he's in my top 5 songwriters, no. But I think for what it is, for that kind of pop rock, dude rock, like radio, what is it, AOR or whatever? I don't know if that qualifies as AOR. but he's one of the best. He uses the alt-rock aesthetic, but just tries to pump out anthems. That's right. And he did that. Listen, no matter, you don't have to like it again, but how many big, massive hits did this man write? How many massive hits did Nickelback have? Do you know how difficult that is to do? Do you know how difficult it is to have one big hit? Do you know how difficult it is to have one big hit that crosses over and becomes a big smash hit in the United States? It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. This man did this repeatedly for a span of like 15 years. Repeatedly. Year after year, putting out big monster hits. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it's upsetting to some of the viewers of this channel that don't like it when I say truthful things like this. That's a difficult thing to do. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy to do you think I would be here on Twitch? Do you think I'd be here on Twitch? If it was easy to write big top 40 smash hit rock anthems? No, I would be out there doing that. Okay? I wouldn't be in here with you jokers. If you start singing a Nickelback song at karaoke, everyone will go nuts and sing along with you. I mean, this is just it's just the reality, folks. This is probably the most divisive thing I've ever said on this channel. I've said all kinds of crazy shit on here. I've said all kinds of wild, controversial shit on here. I think this is the thing that's going to really put me over the top. Twitch just added the category Nickelback apologism to Rob's stream. And to be clear, too, it's like I'm not a big fan of the band. I don't sit around and listen to Nickelback. Again, when it gets into the sound of his voice and that general aesthetic, personally, that's not for me. But my own personal feeling about this is irrelevant. My personal feelings about the sound of Chad Kroger's voice is irrelevant. The reality is this man pumped out, I want to say double-digit, huge hit songs. Putting him in terms of like pop songwriting on the level of just about pretty much anybody that's ever done it. They have sold 50 million albums worldwide, folks. Oh, sure. Oh, no, this guy sucks, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this guy sucks. That he sucks so much that he has like 12 top 10 singles and 50 million albums sold. Oh man, this is funny. So if it's popular, it can't suck. Well, just whether something sucks or not is completely subjective. I might think something sucks. The reality is, though, it is not easy. It is not easy to spend 10, 15 years continually pumping out huge hit songs. We've turned into Sans chat over Nickelback. Trump sucks, but he's good at what he does. I think that's a good analogy. I don't like Donald Trump. I think he's a horrible person. I think he's a disgusting person. I can still acknowledge that and also acknowledge that I understand why he's popular. And I can acknowledge that there are certain things that he's excellent at, irrespective of my personal feelings. Marxist Leninist Krugist. Rob saying I don't like Trump makes me wonder if Rob likes Trump. I don't. I do not. Lodane suddenly realizes all her work was dedicated to evil. He's also good at being a verbal bully. He's funny. Right? It shouldn't be hard for us to admit that. The whole thing when Trump was talking about Biden falling off his bike the other day, like this man still has it. This man still has it. And the other day when he was like, I promise you this, I will never ever ride a bicycle. And I was like, God damn it. I hate that I find this guy so funny. It's actually frustrating. I have a funny Chad Kroeger story. Okay, let's hear it, metal dipshit. That was extremely funny. Yeah, I think he's got some of his pep back. Not that he's not in the daily grind of the White House lifestyle. Exercise depletes your vital essence. Hero is still their best song. I think technically that's not even a Nickelback song. That's a Chad Kroeger solo joint with the guy from Saliva. It was indeed a Spider-Man song, yeah. From the first one. Hero by Enrique Goated. That is another good song. Sounds like you know the discography pretty well, Rob. Listen, I happen to have a mind that absorbs a lot of information about pop culture subjects, especially about music and songwriting, which is an area that I'm intimately familiar with. I did, after all, used to be a moderately successful musician at one point. Okay? I know not everyone knows that. I was a somewhat successful musician at one point in my life. I happen to know a thing or two about songwriting and pop music. Disney, please bring Chad back to the Spider-Verse. Many don't know that Rob was in Nickelback. No, I was not. Again, it's not really for me. It's not my preferred musical style. If I'm going to listen to hard rock like that, I'll probably more listen to like Guns N' Roses. Appetite for Destruction. Appetite for Destruction, I think, is like a significantly... Any song on Appetite for Destruction is... I prefer it better than any Nickelback song. Who has more big hit songs, though, between Guns N' Roses or Nickelback? Well, there's no comparison. Because not only do you have to get to that point of fame, but you have to maintain that level at the top, right? Guns N' Roses reached the top of the mountain, and it drove them insane. It drove Axl insane. He was not able to keep up that. Try to go keep up that lifestyle while still churning out huge hit songs year after year for like 10, 15 years. I said, a Rob doesn't want to be a big rock star to that hilltop house of driving 15 cars. See, I don't like that. I don't enjoy listening to that kind of style of singing. Okay? I don't really enjoy it. But I can recognize well-written pop music. Okay? And they're under all that, under the greasy hair and the annoying voice and all that stuff, under that, there's a brilliance to the songwriting and the hooks. The hooks, folks. Those songs they're jam-packed with hooks. I take no pleasure in reporting this. How do you feel about Puddle of Mud? I remember I liked the first Puddle of Mud single. What was it called? I don't remember what it's called. It's got that great like intro and verse, and then the chorus is kind of boring, but it's got some nice melody in like the verse. I remember the hook in the chorus, but I don't remember the name of the song. I'm gonna have Nickelback in my head all day long now. Exactly, because you can not even have heard one of those songs for years, but the songwriting is so strong and the hooks are so strong that you just need to be reminded of it once, and then you can sing the entire song, and it's all right. It's right back in your head. She Hates Me. No, I'm not talking about She Hates Me. I'm talking about I think the original single before that. I didn't enjoy that. I think it was Blurry. Yeah, that's right. Blurry. There's some nice little harmonics in the verse, I remember. And there's some nice melody in there that I kind of like. Also, I'll say Nickelback's cover of Saturday Night for a Fight is better than Elton. I'm not sorry. Wow, Arachno Zach. Zach, I would say that's taking it even farther than like what I was saying. Not so much dad rock as family court dad rock. That's right. No, I think you're right that it's blurry out, right? Because it was like, everything's so blurry. Come on, understand now. Let me know just how you feel. Something like that. It was like that. Oh, gosh. Drowning Pool, Linkin Park, Godsmack. Didn't think I'd be back in my iPod from middle school today. Here we are. This is one thing. This is what I built. I have the ability to do this, to turn any important. There's all kinds of important subjects we could be discussing. I am very adept at turning that into just random nostalgic bullshit from when we were teenagers. You should listen to Lit. That'll help you get over the Nickelback fiasco. Lit have a bunch of good songs as well. They didn't quite have the same longevity, though. I think I've liked pretty much every Lit single that I've heard, though. Oh, man. My Own Worst Enemy, anything is better than anything Nickelback ever cranked out. Yeah, I mean, I like My Own Worst. That's a good song. That's a very good song. I guess at the time, like when Lit came out, I was really into like the pop punk world. So Lit just felt like it just felt so corporate. They like taking that kind of pop punk aesthetic, but without any of the sort of indie stuff or the working up from the kind of ground up. I think they just emerged as the fully formed like corporate thing with these like really slick production and pop songs. Though I think I resented that a little bit at the time because I liked more like these bands like The Starting Line, Newfound Glory, that kind of stuff. So I thought I was kind of offended by Lit, but the reality is they had some very good songs. We're talking Lit now. Yeah. What about Billy Talent? I love that album. That was just Billy Talent kind of became popular when I was more in my 20s and just like was not really they're a good band, but I just was never really that into it. I remember I was friends with this band called The Reason, I don't know if anyone remembers the Canadian band called The Reason. I played a bunch of shows with them back in the day, and they made an album with Billy Talent's producer. That was not that bad. It was pretty good. I actually hung out with it's not the Hoobastank song, although that is a good song too. It was a band from Hamilton, Ontario called The Reason. They were kind of like a pop punk screamo band, and then they kind of put out other albums, then kind of matured and became more like indie rock kind of stuff. Nice guys though. I actually hung out with my friend James from The Reason like a few weeks ago, or months at this point. Yeah, Adam White, that's right. Yeah. Did you ever play Warped Tour? Yeah, I did. I didn't play the tour. I just played Warped Tour in Montreal. That was I think that was like the second last show I ever played. I think that was the second last show I ever played. It was Warped Tour 2010 in Montreal. I was there. There you go. Did you ever play covers, or did you play your own song? We'd have at least one cover to play to get, because we often like played openers. Like we were like the opener for a lot of shows. So, we would always have like a big hit, a song that was a big hit to cover, because it would just get people singing and dancing and stuff if they weren't familiar with us. The thing, when we were really getting famous, we covered "Let's Dance" by Lady Gaga. And that was like, people loved that. People loved that one. Why did you stop? I just, that song is a banger. I guess this is getting deep into Rob lore now. I stopped because I felt kind of creatively disconnected from what we were doing. When my band started, we were like a cool indie band, or we were trying to be, in Montreal. This is like the early mid 2000s in Montreal, when there was like Arcade Fire and Wolf Parade and The Stills, and there was this big like indie explosion in Montreal. So that's like, we were kind of in that, or trying to be in that context, and were for quite a while. And then I think, like, as time went on, we were also a band, and we wrote all the songs together and stuff like that. And as things progressed, I think I became more disconnected from the creative process, until I wasn't really part of that anymore, and it became more of like a thing with our singer doing most of the writing. And as a result, we became a lot more successful. But also, I didn't feel like as emotionally connected to what we were doing anymore, and I didn't really like get the same kind of level of satisfaction from it. But we were still fairly successful, so it was kind of like, well, I'm still pretty cool to like be able to do this kind of stuff. We were going to the UK all the time, and we had a record deal with Virgin Records, and we're going on tour often, and like touring the UK. We toured Canada a bunch of times, so that was pretty exciting. So I was willing to overlook a lot of stuff about what was going on creatively when that was happening. But then when that started to slow down a little bit, and it started to become more difficult, and we started hitting some more like roadblocks, then I kind of just had a moment where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just kind of like, I kind of quit doing music kind of cold turkey. I kind of just moved on from it. I moved on with my life. I spent like a good 10, 15 years really thinking about every single day doing music. And I kind of just hit to this point where I was like, I'm getting close to my 30s. You know, I don't want to be one of these like old guys that's like still plugging away and trying to do this. Is the Montreal indie scene completely dead, or am I just out of the touch from 3 years of pandemic? I mean, I really don't know, Mondo. I mean, I'm so disconnected from that world now. I'm so disconnected from that. So I'm not sure. I'm sure there's plenty of great artists that are active here. But I never go out really, so I wouldn't know. Definitely, I think in terms of like the mainstream attention that it's getting, it has died down a lot. Like I remember like when I was really like involved in that kind of scene, there was a big article in Spin magazine about like Montreal. There's the new like buzz, like music hotspot. You know, it was really cool. It was really exciting, but I don't think that's kind of going on anymore. Dropped the guitar to pick up ML books, such as life. Well, that's it. It's not sad. You know, I had a great time doing music. I had a great time. I spent many years kind of doing that, and I felt like even though it didn't get to the point that I wanted, we still got probably farther than the vast majority of people that start bands. You know, like I said, we had a record deal with Virgin Records. Like that's not nothing. That's not the easiest thing to accomplish. So I feel proud of the things we accomplished at the time. And yeah, then it was, you know, I met my partner shortly after, and it's you know, it's interesting. I wouldn't be where I am now without having had that experience. So I realized I am slightly bitter about it, because like it's funny that this came up, because the other night, I usually have like 1 or 2 nights a year where I'll just randomly start going back into our catalog and listening to stuff. And I had one of those the other night. I was like, when I couldn't sleep, I was listening to some of our old stuff. I'm still slightly bitter about it, but like, I'm coming to grips with it. Were you ever on a CMJ compilation? I was on Big Shiny Tunes. Big Shiny Tunes 2 was one of the biggest albums in Canadian history. I was on like Big Shiny Tunes like 15 or one of the later ones, but I was on there. For comparison, buddies of mine from Connecticut moved all the way to Dallas to try and realize their dream is a big-time band. They're still performing, but they've never even sniffed your previous success. They've been at it 17 years. There's kind of like a sunk cost fallacy, right? With that or with anything. But once you feel like you've put so much time and effort into something, it's really difficult to just be like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that was a big reason why I stayed for as long as I did doing music. Rob, on the cover of Hit Parader, I was in, I don't know if, do we have any UK heads? I know we've got some UK people in the community. I don't know if you're around now. I was in Kerrang back in the day, not on the cover, but we had a feature in Kerrang. We toured with Simple Plan. We toured the UK with Simple Plan, playing huge, like really big shows. That was fun. All my boys watched the TV channel. Yeah, we were on the Kerrang. We were at our height. We hit number 1 on the Kerrang like TV countdown. I have a weird time with it, because I feel a little bit weird about it, because like I said, I feel creatively not connected to the stuff that we were doing that at our height. So when I look back on it now, I feel a little uncomfortable. I find it a little cringeworthy. But at the same time, you know, it's cool. It's part of my story, and it's like, it's funny for me to tell this to people, because it's not something that comes up that often. Wait, did you say Shiny Tunes 15? It only goes to 14. Then I was on 14. And in fact, I'm one of the only people in this country to be on. I was on 2 consecutive. Yeah, that was the band, Brandon. I was on 13 and 14. Because I was listening to like the stuff that we did later in our career, and I still really liked some of the earlier stuff that we did. Like before we kind of like started going on that rise, the stuff that we did when we were more of like what I consider to be kind of more interesting and like indie rock sounding. We put out an EP in that era, and I still enjoy listening to that a couple times a year. Before he sold out, that's right. That's exactly what happened. Here, I'll see if I can show you. I'll show you something funny. Okay? You want to see Rob lore? Actually, I don't even know if I can find the video that I'm talking about. And it's also opening a door that maybe I don't want to open right now. Now, in retrospect. Maybe I'm going to cancel that plan. I'm going to cancel that plan. This is already getting out of control here. This is already getting out of control. I feel like now I need to move on. Oh, the questions aren't prying. It's okay, Brandon. I was talking about it anyway. It's funny for me to talk about, definitely. I bust out that little EP you sent me ages ago. Well, that was something I wanted to. That was an album that I did after I left the band. I did my own. We talked about pop punk before. I basically made a pop punk EP, a solo EP, in like 2010, which is pretty good. If you like that kind of music. This was like after I left the band, and like I said, I had all kinds of weird conflicting feelings about creatively and being kind of like not really part of that anymore, and I wanted to just do something completely by myself. So after I left the band, I did my own solo album. Basically, I played all the instruments and I did everything. That was fun. Some of your cover photos are the most Canadian things I've ever seen. I can't explain it. The Rubik's Cube, just one. Yeah. Makes me feel Canada. Oddly enough, most of that stuff was done in the UK. Because that was where we had most of our success. You could barely even it's low quality. There I am. There's me. I guess when was this picture taken? This must have been like 2006 or 7, I guess by now. It's funny because this album, the album that this picture was for, this was always the kind of the frustrating thing because we put out like a full-length album that was produced by Matt DiMatteo, who's an awesome producer who produced all the Big Wreck albums, the first 2 Big Wreck albums with like The Oaf and that song. So we made a full-length album with Matt, which I think is pretty good. I gave that a listen the other night too. I mean, there's some pretty good stuff on there. And then when we signed our record deal, in the UK, they were like, okay, we want to pull that album, so you're not selling it anymore, and we want to re-record a few things and add a few things to it, and then re-release it. And it just never ended up materializing. We never really ended up releasing a full-length album. Which was annoying to me. You get Rob talking about Chad Kroger, and this is what happens. Is it Kruger or Kroger? Chad Kruger? I don't know. Is crazy that I'm an hour and 15 into this, and I've talked about Nickelback, and now I'm doing Nostalgia Corner, talking about my 20s being in a band. I was not planning on this. I guess we should actually start talking about like the news and stuff eventually. You should not tell your son any of this in detail. Let him find out on his own in his teens. I did play him one of our songs in the car the other day. The dang news. We went Nickelback in time. Very nice. What did he think? I don't know. I think he was into it. Interview Chad Kroger, but it's going to be like the Chris Farley show where I can't contain my fandom. This is good background to me hunting down grant money for drinking water improvements. Okay, so this is because I love and respect people in this community. I'm going to go ahead and show you this clip before we move on. Okay, and when I share this stuff with you, remember that it's weird and somewhat uncomfortable for me. Okay, it's weird and somewhat uncomfortable. So try to keep that in mind and be sensitive to this as I show you this clip. But this clip is going to be you're going to find it funny, so I have to show it to you. Okay, here it is.
Hey, there we are. At least sit your ass down.
We were already on. Hey, how's it going, everybody? All right, I'm talking to fans, lots of fans of the band that's on the pod right now. They're hailing from Montreal. Mission District is on the pod.
All right, guys.
You totally caught me in the act here, so I might as well go right to your fans who've been bombarding me wanting to ask you questions. Right there on this striped shirt, do you have, what color mic do you have? Green. Go ahead.
So we realize you haven't.
I know this guy. I grew up with this guy's name is Mike Dunn.
Are you getting any more attention from the ladies these days?
Ooh, groupies. How are the groupies going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. I
Yeah?
can't complain, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit because I visited your MySpace page today. Lots
You're
of
big on
fans making
MySpace.
Comments, and you seem to reply to all of your fans. Have you taken
Going
any
to
of
the
their
fans.
feedback?
Yeah, I don't know how he asked a question. I
Yeah?
don't know.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty important.
That was kind of a
we
prank.
Keep a good contact with our fans because I think that's really how you build a solid fan base is actually listening to what your fans have to say.
I got a good moment to shine here in this as
What
well.
about the weird ones?
Yeah, we answer them, especially with the weird.
That's the best. They will cause you the most trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
How about all the single ladies? Would you ever date one of your fans?
I don't know. It's never really come up. So.
Well, this is why I asked because you guys
Weird.
have been
These are weird
nominated,
questions in retrospect.
by your fans for the Cosmo Hottie Hometown Locator.
Let's be
Thank
clear,
you.
though,
Here's my moment here.
It wasn't really us that was nominated, though. It was more this guy, right?
Is this a little bit of bitterness that only one of you have made the
I'm pretty
Hottie
bitter about
Cosmo?
that. Yeah. Well, our manager's been going on for the last couple of months saying, guys, we're going to be in Cosmo Girl. It's going to be so great. It's edgy. It's going to be fantastic. I've been telling friends and family. It's exciting. I opened up the pages today, and can we zoom in on the...
Is it possible I can get a shot?
Can we zoom in on the article? Yeah.
Which one is
This
it?
is what I thought. This is what I opened up today. I saw that.
There we are.
There we go.
So you got cut out.
It's very almost famous.
Yeah.
Now, so there is bitterness already. You guys, you're split.
Oh no! Every band's got to have a face or a front man, you know. I mean, it's a pretty good one. I mean,
Well, Mike shouldn't complain because his shoulder, I think, made it into the
Your
shot.
shoulder.
He can't really.
Mike is
Your
technically.
shoulder.
my good shoulder, not the bad one.
There it is. That's you.
Yeah,
That's Mike.
Yeah,
That's Mike's shoulder.
Mike's
Shoulder.
shoulder is one of Canada's hotties, everybody, by Cosmo Girl.
If they were gonna do like the hottest shoulder in Canada, I'd give it to you.
I would give it to Mike too.
It is
Well
pretty
done,
hot.
Mike. Well done. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Canada.
So, David, shall we talk?
Okay, that's all you get. That's all. I can't do this anymore. This is so uncomfortable for me to look at this. Oh my god. Ugh. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's enough of that. No more of that now. No more of that. This is what I was up to in the 2000s, though. This is what the aughts were for me. This is what I was up to the whole time. Okay. Rob specifically not provided a mic. Yeah, exactly. This is why I had to strike out on my own. Why didn't you use your platform to spread the immortal science? I was only slowly starting to take on the immortal science. That came with time. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? Mondo Michel, that was very weird. That was very strange. Okay. God, that made me so uncomfortable. And now I go on Twitch and I talk about communism for my career. That's what I do now. Grabs the mic and recites Lenin ripping into Kautsky. And now I'm more of a fashion icon as well. I call that upward mobility. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Rob Rousseau is short for Robert Rousseau Burt. That is actually true. Yeah. That is true. Few people know this. This is what got me started. I started talking about Nickelback like 1 hour ago. I started talking about Chad Kroeger at Nickelback 1 hour ago. Now here we are. You were cooler back then. Oh, wow. Okay. I see. I see. I guess I am pretty lame now. It's true. Thank you for sharing, Rob. I thought it was a great bit. I'm audio only. You really missed out on something, Red Scary. You really missed out on something there. Bring back. I don't even really need to bring back the emo hair. It never really left. I mean, I still do the hair. Like I said, I've told you folks before, it wasn't a phase for me. It was a lifestyle. This is what I'm about. Okay? And he hasn't washed it since. That's right. I missed that shirt, actually, that green plaid shirt. I think my ex-girlfriend stole that one, unfortunately. That was a good shirt. Missed the Nickelback apologia. Yeah, I can't... Progressive Canuck, I can't go back into there. That's going to be too divisive. Chat was just losing it. I did an impassioned segment on Nickelback apologia, and I can't go back there now. It's going to be dredge up all kinds of awkward memories for all of us. Women be stealing. That's right. I look at 2 to 3 members of this community very differently after that whole conversation. I was happy to have you backing me up on this, Outrun. Thank you. And it wasn't even a bit. No, 100% sincere. 100% sincere. That's right. And will you or will you not be blessing us with a post-teen idol slutty club face? I think those days are past me, Ghost. I appreciate your support, though, of this. Which side of Nickelback are we on here in chat? We don't need to relitigate this. We do not need to relitigate this, believe me. Isn't the shorts thing your slutty phase? I guess that is true. I guess it kind of is. Can I just point out that the entire last hour of divisive conversation arose from me saying we can't talk about 311, thus proving Lodane correct on this rule. I guess so. I guess it's true. Yeah, Ghost, you missed earlier when I displayed my thighs prominently. You started this stream showing leg and eating a popsicle. That is true. I did do that. Maybe I shouldn't be so quick to deny this potential slutty phase when that's the first thing I did and when this stream started. Oh my. Have some water here. Embrace it. Don't let them shame you. Thank you, Orally. Thank you. Hello, Husker. What's up? Serious question. How much has Canadian politics changed since 2010? Not a lot, Raul. I mean, we still have the exact same kind of neoliberal establishment in place. Now that's the liberal version rather than the conservative version. The NDP is in more or less the same position as it was. I mean, in 2010, it briefly reached like mainstream party status under Jack Layton as they kind of pivoted to being more of like a centrist neoliberal party. And now they've receded even from that boost they got from that. So not a whole lot has changed. Now we've got this, except in the differences, we have this right-wing populism thing that's starting to get off the ground. I guess that's the only real difference. We got government weed now, that's right. Sort of feels like 311 taking collateral damage here. I just don't feel very strongly one way or the other about 311. Wouldn't you say the general idea of socialism has become more popular? I mean, perhaps it has among some people. I think probably that's accurate. That would be an accurate statement. That hasn't been reflected politically in any way, though. If there's a renewed interest in socialism, especially among like young people or like people my age and younger, especially, there might be more interest in it, particularly as the contradictions of capitalism become more and more apparent to everyone. But that new interest in socialism hasn't been reflected at whatsoever really in our political system. Nor in our media system. It's not like CBC or any of these mainstream media outlets are platforming people that identify as being socialists. And it seems like even the so-called the people that would identify as socialists that are kind of trying to participate in the political system, that are trying to like pull the NDP to the left, also display a lot of kind of troubling tendencies when it comes to certain foreign policy things. It's kind of a compatible left situation. Those are the people that are kind of getting to the point of actually being able to infiltrate this party system. The ones that believe in socialism but then cringe at the word communism. That's right, yeah. Did you hear the budget watchdog claims the Trans Mountain Pipeline is no longer profitable, the one bought by the feds? I mean, that sounds accurate to me. I mean, the thing about these, like the oil pipelines in Canada, has never been about, delivering profits or like benefits to the communities that are affected by the pipeline projects, right? It's when we get into that thing about jobs versus profits. The profits are always the whole reason that these pipelines exist is to get the profits out of Canada into the pockets of these foreign oil companies, oil conglomerates. and then the communities get the benefit of like a few dozen people having jobs. But thank you, Dr. Maggot. Thank you for the 690.
Hi Rob, don't forget you are cool now, still, despite what the haters say. We love our streamer less than 3.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maggot. I appreciate that. Thank you. Very kind of you. That's not true, but great tip, Dr. Maggot. Well, that's just your opinion. That's just like your opinion, man. The socialism is up, but the chauvinism has not been brought down. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, so then we have, these, in terms of the profits. So that's, I'm not surprised that they did buy out the troubling, the pipeline project that was in like the most difficulty, so that they could like subsidize the like losses that these companies were taking on this. We should probably start to actually talk about important news items. So is anyone else thinking Alberta is about to have a real bad time with Europe and the USA looking at negotiating with Venezuela? They have the same kind of oil as Canada, and it's way easier to get at. I mean, Progressive Canuck, it would have made sense, I guess, in that kind. Like when you say that, it probably would have made a lot of sense. And correct me if I'm wrong here. For the Alberta NDP, when they were in charge of the province, to try and diversify their economy and not double and triple and quadruple down on the tar sands, on being the progressive oil sands party. Perhaps it would have made sense to use that moment to transition Alberta away from that, having their entire economy completely devoted to that, so that when the moment comes when all of a sudden it's more difficult to move that product and to generate profits from it, they could have had maybe something to fall back on so their entire economy didn't collapse as a result. That certainly would have made sense. Better luck next time. Yeah. If only there had been people telling the Alberta NDP this at this time, saying that this exactly is the exact thing that would happen, and only for them to be like told to shut up, basically. I want Venezuela to tell America to fuck off. Well, and as do I, orally, but like also at the same time, like Venezuela is hurting economically because of this, because of the sanctions regime, and because they haven't been able to diversify their economy in the same way. And like I was talking about with Rania Khalek a few weeks ago, she gave actually some very interesting reasoning for like why they haven't diversified, and explained how it's not quite that simple to just diversify away from oil production when that's your number one resource. But that's the thing. It's like I would like for them to just tell America to fuck themselves, but the reality is they need to be getting their oil to the market so they can like provide for people in the country. Because they're like, the reason that there's been so much economic like tumult in Venezuela is because of the economic warfare and sanctions and imperialism. And they do need to get out from under that a little bit. I mean, just the fact that the United States is going hand in hand to Venezuela to start asking these questions, I think that's a win for them in the first place. So I think it would be great if they just said, no, thank you. But that's the reality is they need to be able to provide for the people that live there and have a stable economy so people can have their basic needs met, and you don't have these big refugee caravans and all the problems that were happening. Participating in capitalism to survive, Alexandro. It's strange to me that this concept really seems to trip some people up. But that's the reality, though. You need money you need to participate in the global economic system in order to afford like healthcare and housing and social programs for the people that live in your country. So that's just the reality that these countries have to operate under. He should make them disavow Guaido publicly. That would be cool. Yeah. Anthony Blinken or Joe Biden himself should go out and do a press conference and say, we recognize Nicolas Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela, and so should Chrystia Freeland or Mélanie Joly or whoever needs to do it, or Justin Trudeau. I think that would be a legitimate request. You want to start developing our oil? You want to get our oil to the market? Okay, good. We'll do that. As long as you just go out and recognize who the legitimate government of the country is. Shouldn't be a problem, right? If you're here asking us to get our oil to market, shouldn't be a problem. Juan Guaido. That's right. Election authenticity claims, we made it up. It's a total fabrication. Did they even recognize Petro as president for Colombia? Yeah, they did. They did right away. Yeah, and DeSantis playing up the global socialist takeover or whatever. This one was invented by a writer. Pelosi not even remembering who the puppet president was. No, it wasn't Pelosi. It was the well, maybe she did too, but it was like the Joe Biden's press secretary. When they asked them about, I can't remember we watched the clip on the stream with, like, they asked her about like Nicaragua, and she was like, when we recognize Juan Guaido. Nancy did it too. Okay, they both did. Awesome. Good. Good stuff. Yeah, they asked that. Thank you, Dakadune. That was it. They asked about Bolsonaro coming to the UK, and like they're like, why are you saying that certain countries can't come because of authoritarianism, and you're hanging out with Jair Bolsonaro? And they were like, listen, we recognize Juan Guaido. They don't even know where these countries are. All they know is that all these countries belong to us. They're all basically U.S. colonies, so it doesn't matter, right? That's part of their like global Monroe Doctrine thing. That's our front yard. So it's just whether it's Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Nicaragua, whatever, Venezuela, it's one of those. Personally, I think that recognizing the legitimacy of the government you're trying to negotiate with doesn't sound like a hard ask. Yeah. If you're like, if Guaido's the president, why did you fucking negotiate with him? Negotiate with him about the oil. What? Oh, you're saying he doesn't have any power to do anything at all because he has no legitimacy? Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. If you want to get Venezuela's oil to market, maybe talk to Guaido. And he's going to make some phone calls. And get this to happen. No one believes this. Like, no one believes that this guy has any credibility. We recognized Maester Seymour Juan Guaido. Yeah, I don't understand the reference, King Guaido, but I'm going to trust you that it was a really good one. Juan Guaido can't even get bread in his own country without getting in a fight. Yeah, without having dozens of people whipping chairs at him. That's how much people love this man. This heroic freedom fighter. Juan Guaido. He can't even get lunch without getting spit on. He's not doing oil deals. It's so humiliating that we're still pretending that this is a possibility. That was Guaido. Yeah, Guido. The guy whose stage started falling apart a couple years ago during a backyard speech. That's right. John Guido. Dwid Guano. Who knows what this fucking guy's name is? Juan Guido shot first. Okay, so I'm totally like... haven't looked at any of the clips that I wanted to do. I do have to actually leave to get my kid in a few minutes because I started late. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. I do have some more like footage and clips for us to look at. I wanted to look at more clips from the rail strike stuff, which we enjoyed yesterday. There's some more great clips coming out about that. Yeah, some more Mick Lynch stuff. That's right. But I'm wondering if I should just wait, if we should just continue chatting until 3:30, and then I can come back and do that after. Mick's so great. Yeah, he's so great. Streamer subverts his own stream. Stream started late. Your kid will understand. You pick him up late. That's right. He'll be fine. I go up later. It's like raining. He's just standing by himself. And I'm like, don't worry. I'm as your dad. My job as a Twitch streamer was a little late. So I hope you understand. He should also demand life sentences for the Spec Ops guys who were captured by fishermen and peed their pants. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable as well. Well, it's just like, listen, did you send these guys to overthrow my government? Oh, you didn't? You're denying it? Well, these are criminals. These are like mercenary criminals, and I guess we're going to have to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. There's a Twitch stream emergency. Exactly. Streamer first, parent second. I called that building character back in the day. Do your son's friends know that you're a Twitch streamer? They're a little young to get. I think he thinks that's cool, but I think his friends are a little young for that. I think some of their friends' dads think it's cool though. I told everyone, like, when I went to pick him up the other day, and one of the dads was like, "Oh yeah, I watched your thing the other day," and I was kind of like, cool. And I was like, I was trying to mentally think, like, what was I saying? Like, what kind of crazy shit was I talking about? Did you ask him to sub? I'm working my way up to it. I'll say, if you have Amazon Prime, you can actually send that my way. Caught your last fashion stream. That's right. It's like, you were talking a lot about North Korea. Is that like a joke that you do? The whole North Korea thing? And it's like, yeah. What's Juche? Yeah. You spent 20 minutes eating and then did accents for 1 hour. You're doing wacky accents. It's supposed to be ironic. That's right. I'm only joking about all the Juche stuff, but how I like it and think that it's cool. Does your son know that he can use 3 different slurp juices on a single ape? I don't believe that he does know that. No. Not enough people do, frankly. Let that other dad know that he can count on you. He'll have good old Rob to talk you through all this. That's right. Whatever you saw me doing, I only serve chat. Those freaks. That's right. They make me show them my legs for $5. I can't stop. Now. I've put too much time and effort into this. I can't go back now. Let's not get the foot discourse going.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
I brought up at dinner that China wasn't as bad as the US tells us it is. My dad side-eyed me. That's funny. I've been planting that seed in my with my parents as well. My dad is on board. Metal Dipshit, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Metal Dipshit. Let's see those games. I already showed the games. That was a one-time deal, Metal Dipshit, although I do appreciate the 5 gifted subs. I feel like that's setting a standard. If I were to just immediately show my thighs the moment that anyone gifted subs in the channel, I feel like that's setting a standard that it's going to come back to haunt me.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Gamcam twice like an hour ago. That's right. It's on the VOD if you want to see the gams. Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing, for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you. Communism is when you show thigh and a little groin.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
What do you do for $20? We can take that to DM. Let's not talk about that here. Thank you, Alana, for the 3 gifted subs. Make a softcore OnlyFans. I guarantee you'd clean up. I honestly do not think that I would. I appreciate the sentiment, Dave. I appreciate the sentiment.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle. You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
I appreciate the sentiment. I feel like I would have maybe like 6 or 7 people signing up as like kind of a joke. I don't think it would be quite as exciting as you're making it out to be. Thank you very, very much to King Uendo for the 5 gifted subs.
You can count on me.
Really appreciate that, King Uendo, and I really appreciate the 5 gifted subs from Dakadoon as well. Thank you, Dakadoon. Thank you very much. And thank you, Moist Owlets, for the gifted sub as well. Okay, we got one of the new exciting harder difficulty hype trains going as well. That's cool. I've really gone like a long period today without talking of anything important whatsoever. And in my title still says hello, and I did not tweet. You can tell your son you got a hype train when you pick him up. Yeah, and you still have 200 viewers. Yeah, go figure. I don't know. I appreciate everyone that stuck around. To hear me rant about Nickelback and talk about my former music success. My former status as a teen idol pop star. You haven't done any accents. That's right. I haven't. Keeping that in my back pocket.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh my lord. Squatch, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Squatch Drew, thank you very much. Very kind of you. I really appreciate all the support, Squatch and everyone else. You are pushing it though, Squatch Drew. I was not under the impression that the slub jail sentence was complete. We don't need to get into that. Rob at a hype train is also what Dakadoon tells his kids when he's late picking them up every day. And of course they understand that. Of course they understand exactly like what that is and they think it's cool.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
G Cluppy, thanks for the gifted sub. Thank you, G Cluppy. We're actually close to the sub goal. This is kind of surprising. I'm sitting here yammering on all day about all kinds of random nonsense. RMT is on strike to make sure Rob's hype trains are funded. That's right. That's right. And we now, look, I do have some good footage that we can take a look at once I get back in a couple minutes. How do you think XQC got big? I have no idea. I'm not sure. I think that's kind of like a young person thing for me. I think like it's not. When I see his content, I don't think I'm in the target audience of that. So I just try to keep that in mind. Meeting the sub goal, even with the disturbing music takes earlier. What a community, Squatch. You know that what I was saying made a lot of sense. I understand why you were resistant to it. Believe me, I get it. In a way, though, I'm pretty sure you understand that I was right and correct to be saying those things. I get where you were coming from. Fortnite Pro Arc. I would be more than happy to just play Fortnite on here all day. That'd be really enjoyable to me. Slib to rib, like I always say. That's right, Husker. Many people say this. We are close to the sub goal. And I don't want to make any guarantees, since I've already leaned on this a little bit today. If we are able to get to the goal, perhaps I can think about showing the shorts again. Perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. The Quebec Coalition has a unique appeal to the Zoomers. I guess so. Don't ask me to explain that. The only thing I was sure about XQC is he's a fucking Quebecois. I always see Quebecois nerds with QC or some variation in their handles. Yeah, it's not for me, but I wish him the best. Would I like to maybe get to somewhat approaching that level? Sure, yeah. Am I bitter that I'm not that level of fame on Twitch? Yes. Yes, I am.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
DRP, thank you very, very much for the gifted sub. Thank you, DRP. Is he in Montreal also? I don't know. I think he's really French, so I don't know. I'm not really sure. Could you really stream 16 hours a day? That I do not think I could do. No. Sometimes I do think about trying to do more. Stop showing up in my recommendations. I can't help you out with that. Black asshole. Oh my god, it's just reading your username sounded like I was like saying like a that was the user. I was just reading the username. I was just literally reading the username. Okay? I was just reading the username off the chat. Okay. That was just the person's username. It was one of those things where like seeing with my eyes and then hearing it come out of my mouth. There's a big disconnect. Anyway, at least I'm showing up in someone's recommendations. That's kind of cool. Okay. So I'm going to try and I'm going to put on something for you to look at. I'm going to put on something for you to look at, okay? I will go for like 8 minutes. And I'll come back and I've got a bunch of like clips and interesting stuff for us to look at after. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much for contributing to the hype train and for the supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Very, very kind of you. All of you. This stream has made me question what I'm doing with my life, Rob. Lodain, you're doing great. You're doing great. Okay, you're doing a wonderful job. Which one's this? Okay, this looks good.
This is The Big Picture, an official television report to the nation from the United States Army. Now, to show you part of the big picture, here is Sergeant Stuart Queen.
The film you are about to see was produced as a troop information film, specially prepared to alert the American soldier against a hidden enemy, an enemy that can destroy morale, rob the soldier of the will to fight.
Rob the soldier of the will to fight.
Enemy propaganda. Although this study of communist deception was made for a military audience, we think that you, the American public, will also find it pertinent and enlightening.
In the words of an American hero, Patrick Henry,
I'll be back in a few minutes, folks.
Peace, but there is no peace. And today America cries peace, peace. To further the blessings of peace, to ensure peace, America today sends to every nation in her imperialist orbit the implements of peace: ammunition, rifles, bayonets, hand grenades, machine guns, bombing planes, fighter planes, and now even atomic cannon. The gentlemen from America may call that peace, but I have another word for it. I call it war. I call it America's master plan to enslave the world. Let no one be deceived by the American-style peace.
Let no one be deceived. That's what the man said. I don't think you need 3 guesses to know what this is all about. But let's listen a moment longer and see what's behind it.
Peace is a word that sends cold shivers down the spines of American capitalists. Peace is what the whole world yearns for, prays for, longs for. But on Wall Street, it is a word that spells ruin. I say let the American warmongers beware. The people want peace, and we are the voice of the people.
That was the voice of the Kremlin, or rather, one of its voices. There are lots of them around the world, speaking in every language. This material is just another sample of what you might call the communist war without guns. And this is some of their ammunition. I'm Colonel Foster. I'm going to be your guide for a short tour through the maze of communist propaganda. It's a strange, shadowy world of the doctored photograph, the misquotation, the insinuation, and the lie. Now, some of this material to us is comical. Some of it is tragic. Some of it's weird. Some of it's dull. But all of it has the single purpose of digging the grave of liberty. The gravediggers of communism have been trying to set America up for the kill for years, and it makes them very angry that we don't just collapse as per schedule. Listen to this. The living conditions of the American masses, that's you, are swiftly deteriorating. Our generation is going through the final convulsions of the dying world of capitalism. That's what it says here. And if you don't believe that pamphlet, try this one. Bankrupt America may have one more war in its decaying carcass, but her young men who face nothing but brute labor, poverty, and death may refuse to fight. That's what it says here. If you're assigned to duty overseas, you may see posters like this once in a while. That's you, in case you don't recognize yourself. Of course, we get a big chuckle out of stuff like this, but the bigger the lie, the bigger the laugh. But the gravediggers aren't laughing. They're deadly serious. And in some places around the still free world, some people believe them. Like to know what they're saying about you and all American soldiers? Well, in England, the communists call you arrogant gum chewers. They tell the Japanese you're pleasure-loving, pampered, juvenile delinquents. For Italian ears, the communists call you black marketeers bent on looting Europe. For the Austrians, they call you uncultured young thugs. To the Soviet-occupied countries of Eastern Europe, they say you are members of the gangster army of imperialist America. And to the people of Korea, the communists say you are cold-blooded murderers, tortured, shot, and buried alive thousands of innocent civilians. Did you notice how the slander progressed? From the gum chewers to juvenile delinquent, to black marketeer, to thug, gangster, murderer. From you should be laughed at to you should be shot in just a few easy steps. How's your sense of humor now? I imagine that all of us gum-chewing, pampered, gangster murderers know why we're being slandered. It's because America is the major obstacle that stands between the gravedigger and his intended victim. Here is target number 1 for the Reds. And who's in the bullseye? You are. Being in the bullseye, it's important to know something about the enemy's weapons and how to spoil their aim. That aim is nothing less than world conquest, and subversion by every possible means is the chief method used. The key word is conflict. Outside of the red countries themselves, conflict must be promoted everywhere. Every dissatisfaction must grow into a resentment. Every resentment must become an argument. Every argument must grow into a fight. Every fight must blossom into a riot. Every riot must expand into a war. And every war must end in devastation. For there in the ruins, communism finds its chance. For the communists, there must never be a compromise. Never a settlement of disputes. Only conflict. To Americans, none of it makes much sense. But wherever there is poverty, unemployment, disillusionment, there is also despair. And where there is despair, people may listen to anyone, to any plan that promises a change. In America, practically nobody listens. In all countries with stable government, civil liberties, and reasonable prosperity, communism makes little or no headway. The red countries cannot stand comparison in the light of day. That's one reason for the Iron Curtain that stretches across Eastern Europe from the Baltic Sea to the Mediterranean. The barrier works two ways. It keeps free men from seeing too much inside, and it keeps the slave world from glimpsing freedom. Back of that Iron Curtain is the biggest captive audience in the world. They don't have to sell them, just tell them. And what do they hear about themselves? Well, let's listen.
Мы передавали специальную программу, посвященную сельскохозяйственному планированию в Азербайджане. At a recent meeting of the International Labour Organization, the question was raised by one of the American delegates as to why there are no strikes in the USSR. To the people of the Soviet Union, this is a foolish question. The reason why we do not have strikes is because we do not have exploitation of the workers. Here there are no capitalists and no landlords seeking profits at the expense of human welfare. As all of us know, in the Soviet Union, authority belongs to the working people. In no other country does the worker feel so much a part of his factory, his farm, his village, and his nation. Our workers do not grumble or strike. They leave that to the discontented masses of other countries who have not yet advanced to socialism. One has but to look around the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics to see on every hand evidence of our enormous progress. In Uzbekistan, there has been a mighty upswing in the economy and unprecedented cultural progress as well. Twice as many Uzbeks today receive higher education than in France, for example. In Czechoslovakia, household appliances and motorcycles have ceased to be the goods exclusively for the rich. Today, they are available to all. In Belarus, the people have received all equipment necessary for boosting agriculture, such as tractors and machines. We are a nation of happy builders in a blossoming land.
You get the picture? For the people around Moscow, they say everything in Uzbekistan is wonderful. For the people in the Euro region, they say everything in Czechoslovakia is wonderful. For the people in the Ukraine, Belarus is a blossoming land. Wherever a Soviet citizen lives, he's told life is just a bowl of cherries somewhere else in the Soviet Union. And it's up to him to work harder to catch up. As for America, the Soviet people are told that conditions here are hopeless. In their theaters, the Soviets see newsreels made up especially to show the terrible truth about us.
This is America of the big capitalists. Wall Street with its big, impressive buildings. But this is the real America, where the workers live. since they are underpaid, they must eke out a few pennies extra by peddling fruit on the streets. Almost every day in America, you will see police and goon squads attacking the workers who try to strike. But for the wealthy class, there is not a care in the world.
Did you recognize those old newsreel scenes? You know how typical they are of America. As for the Soviet soldier, he is also a prime target for the Kremlin propagandists.
I love how... Hello, I'm back, by the way. It's always amazing watching these clips, how much of like the devious Soviet propaganda, and you look back at like what these propagandists were saying, and they're literally just saying true things about the United States. It's truly incredible. And like, you must watch it, and which is funny because nothing at all has changed. Nothing at all has changed. We're still doing the exact same thing. When we talk about what China says about the U.S. now, or what Russia says about the U.S. now, we do the same fucking thing. Can you imagine that they would say these things about us? Horrible. These horrible, devious lies. And it's literally like just saying true things about the United States. By the way, I'm a huge dummy. I'm a huge dummy. And Chad, I blame you. I blame you for not being on top of this, okay? Because on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, my kid doesn't get picked up at 3:30, chat. He gets picked up at 4:30 or later because he does fun after school activities. Okay? He does fun after school activities on Wednesday, and I got confused as to what day it was, and I walked all the way to his school, and he was like playing and having fun, and like he has all this cool stuff to do after school. So I was like, oh, right, yeah, okay, I'll just come back in an hour or so to get him, to leave him do that. And Chad, that was supposed to be you. Like, where were you on that? You're supposed to know this. You're supposed to know this stuff. You blew it. I walked all the way to the school for nothing. We really dropped the ball. It was a nice little walk, it's true. This is our fault. It is. I mean, there's no way of getting around that. There's no way of getting around it. God, my hair is not good either. All kinds of different difficulties going on now. Anyway, I got to go back in like an hour to get him. It's your fault that I'm an airhead. Thank you for acknowledging that when he reads. Thank you. So, try to be better, okay? I accept full responsibility. Thank you. Because tomorrow's his last day of school, so I could have just got him while I was there, but he just has one more day of the after-school stuff where they do all kinds of neat stuff. So I was like, rather than get him, I would just let him stay for a little bit longer. And tomorrow's his last day. It's his last day of kindergarten tomorrow, which is pretty wild. Yes, we'll try to be better parents to your child. Thank you. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. The last day of school is so bittersweet. It's not for him. He's very happy. He's thrilled with this. And starting on Monday, he's going to be in like camp. He's going to be in day camp. I'm shocked he's still in school. What time of year do y'all start in the fall? September? Early September? Full struggle session and self-criticism for chat now. Try and do better next time. That's all I ask. Okay? It's not the end of the world. Okay, for ours it was August 20th and ended in May. Okay, I guess we got like kind of a couple weeks behind on the schedule. My oldest kid is in a day camp for theater. It wasn't my idea. I'm sure that's cool though. My son would probably love to do that. He loves acting. He literally wants to be an actor. Like he talks about wanting to be an actor all the time. I should probably put him in something like that. Canadian schools are usually first week of September to last week in June. Yeah. So after this week, it's going to be camp for 3 weeks, and then after that, it's going to be the vacation schedule of the show. It's going to be the summer schedule, which is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be gone for a week, a little bit. So this is in 1 month from now. I'll be taking a week off from doing the show. Then upon returning, I will only be doing 3 streams per week. Tentatively. In like July and August. For like a couple weeks. That's going to be the summer schedule. Or schedule. Or schedule. If that's what you want to say. That's how you pronounce it. Let's do some of this, let's look at some of this content, though. Okay? I talked about fucking Nickelback and short shorts and my music career for, 2 hours before. We can actually maybe start looking at some of the content that I plan to show you. Yeah, and we have a number of new Mick Lynch clips. We enjoyed watching all the Mick Lynch clips yesterday. He's absolutely killing it as being a sort of media representative for the union, for the rail strike in the UK. He's been absolutely crushing it, all his interviews. And we talked about how this hostile line of questioning, how easily he's just instantly shutting it down. Which has been very satisfying to see. I think for people as well that followed the Corbyn era and the absolute depravity of the British press in the Corbyn era, seeing Mick come along and just absolutely annihilate all these fucking losers in the British press as they try to, position him as being some kind of radical or extremist has been really, really satisfying to see. And I think is a good template for how people in these kind of movements should be treating the press, right? Not even acknowledging their bad faith questioning, not giving them any sound bites. I mean, I talked yesterday about, that question, am I a Marxist? And I talked about, Marxist analysis and how that helps you understand capitalism and all that. But if the fact is, if he had said, yes, I'm a Marxist, and he had given some reasonable answer, all of the reasonable answer would have been immediately cut out, and he would have been clipped, and he would have been presented as being some radical communist or whatever, and they would have gotten exactly what they wanted. So I think it's it was an expertly handled situation the way he handled that. When he was asked, people have talked about you being a Marxist and that kind of thing. And as we know, there's nothing wrong with being a Marxist, and it's actually good to be a Marxist. That's the only way you can actually understand how capitalism works and who gets exploited under capitalism and who profits from it. That kind of basic Marxist analysis, I think, is really, really valuable, of course. But if he had said that on TV, they would have gotten everything they wanted, even if he was being totally reasonable. And that's okay. So I was going to look at the Piers Morgan clip first. I'll look at that one after. But this is interesting too, because I think this is a better way to start, because while he said, no, I'm not a Marxist, I'm just a working class bloke, and he does that, that's kind of his line about that. But then when you hear him in the interview talking about the way the economy works, the way the economy works, I mean, it is, regardless of what his personal beliefs are, it is a kind of Marxist analysis of profit, of who does the work and who gets the profits. I mean, that's the basic reality of Marxist analysis. And he's really expertly in this clip able to talk about this and completely shut down this entire argument that somehow inflation is being driven by wages rising for working people, which is just complete fucking bullshit nonsense. Right? If you own up to being anything near Marxist, you'll get destroyed in press in the UK. Yeah, so I totally understand why that's the better route to take. But that's it. So when he explains this, though, I mean, he's clear, whether he's a Marxist or not, he's obviously thinking with Marx. He's a union leader. He understands capitalism and how it works. And, like it or not, our man Karl Marx is the one that scientifically observed this phenomena and recorded it originally. Here it is. Here's the clip.
If you're saying that everyone deserves a pay rise, are you not worried about the impact that this could have on inflation, which is, the very thing that everyone's really concerned about? The Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey calling for pay restraint because it could...
Well, his pay restraint, he's on £600,000 a year, as is the chief of Network Rail. There are railway bosses taking home millions of pounds every year. The railways made £500 million of profit last year when fares and passengers were at an all-time low. People are stripping money out of the railway, they're stripping money out of the economy. And if workers' wages don't go up, it means a transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. We've got more billionaires than we've ever had in this country. The rich have never been richer. And the reason they're able to do that and get richer all the time is because they're deliberately depressing workers' wages. Inflation has come on board now, and virtually nobody's had a pay rise for the last 2 or 3 years. So this idea that there's a wages price spiral is nonsense.
And James, this gets to what you were just saying here. Really concerned, and I'm concerned about it, and we should all be concerned about it. I'm really concerned with how widespread this totally incorrect analysis is that the inflation in the US and the world economy is facing right now is somehow magically caused by people getting rent assistance. I mean, it is actually fucking disgusting, I think, the way wage workers, like retail workers, grocery store workers, rail workers, these were the people who were putting their health on the line over the last 2 years throughout this pandemic, who were keeping our society somewhat functional. They're one of the big lessons from this pandemic is to see how important certain jobs are to society, such as people that work in grocery stores, pharmacies, these working class jobs, which are typically have very low wages. We all saw throughout the pandemic how vital these jobs are in our society. And for instance, talking about grocery store workers, for example, the way they got a $2 per hour hero benefit pay increase in Canada for 3 months in 2020, which has now been snatched back. And they said, okay, well, you're not heroes anymore, regardless of the fact that they're doing this, filling this vital role in society. And not only did they lose their meager, measly $2 per hour pay increase they got, while all these grocery chains are making record profits, billions and billions of dollars. The Weston family and all these fucking rich assholes that own these grocery chains getting all the profits, while the people that are there doing the work day in, day out, putting their health and their bodies on the line to ensure that people can still eat and people to get groceries. Not only do they lose their meager $2 per hour benefit, but then they get retroactively kind of blamed for the fact that they got any kind of assistance at all. And that working people are the ones that are causing this crisis. The fact that you saw Bill Maher go off on this the other day as well. That the fact that people got...
on me, you're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
A little bit of help paying rent and buying groceries, that's the working class people. That's what caused the inflation crisis. Meanwhile, all of the billionaires and powerful business interests in the grocery chains, in the railroads, that control all these institutions, they're making they're raking in cash hand over fist. And of course, that has nothing to do with the inflation problem. Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing, for the gifted sub. Yeah, and that's it, Outrun. Where's your comment here? Why did I lose it? The patsy is always the working class. And that's the amazing thing. The way that the working class people the absolute like have they've been proven to be so vital. People that work in these kinds of fields, the least rewarded and the least respected jobs in our society, fast food workers, retail workers, restaurant workers, grocery store, pharmacy. Like, these are the people that were like keeping our whole society going while this pandemic was at its worst points. They're rewarded the least for this vitally important job that they do, this vitally important work that they do, and they get blamed retroactively for the economic turmoil that happens. While all the bosses and all the owners of these industries are just can't even count all the money that they've been making on this over this period. We saw Elon Musk, for example. Elon Musk's wealth has gone up by 750%, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's all the woke genders causing inflation. More genders equals more big prices. I am very smart, much smarter than Brandon. That's right. Then Ben, what she's saying. That's what the UK press has kind of tried to position themselves as, especially during the Corbyn era, right? They're like the rough and tumble working class journalists, and it's the woke blue-haired Starbucks baristas that are like the out of touch elitists, basically. And that's what this whole experience has been. Ben made gas expensive with their fancy genders. It's unbelievable. That's what's been amazing about seeing Mick appear on these mainstream news programs and completely shatter that idea that these self-righteous journalists have of themselves, that they're these like working class whisperers, and completely making them look foolish the entire time. Maybe if men were trying to compete in less women's sports and working in more retail sector jobs that are starved of workers, we wouldn't be in this mess. That's right. I think that's the problem. That's the problem. But anyway, there's an even more amazing clip from Piers Morgan, this one's just wild.
Believe is your Facebook.
Like, this guy's leading a strike, like a really important working class movement, and here's how he gets talked to on Piers Morgan when he does an interview.
What I believe is your Facebook page. I want you to confirm or deny if this is your Facebook page. It's a picture of the hood from Thunderbirds.
Can you see the likeness?
Well, I'm just wondering where the comparison goes, because he was obviously an evil, criminal, terrorist mastermind, described as the world's most dangerous man who wreaked utter carnage and havoc on the public.
Is that the level you're pitching this at, Piers? That is a joke amongst me and my friends, and you can see the likeness, if you like.
So you're not denying that you are comparing yourself to the hood?
I'm not comparing myself to anyone. I'm me.
You've literally made your...
He's literally a puppet. He's literally a puppet from a children's show.
I'm not comparing myself to anyone. I'm me.
You've literally made your profile picture,
and he doesn't drop it. That's the amazing thing.
I'm simply saying, I was
so
a massive.
What? If it was a bunch of flowers,
Thunderbirds fan, and the hood was the most dangerous, evil person in the world.
He's the most evil puppet made out of vinyl in the world. Is that the level your journalism's at these days?
I simply asked you if that was you and your Facebook page.
Well, do you think I look like the most evil person in the world, Piers?
Well, now you're asking me to answer a difficult question, Mick. I don't know you that well. All I'm saying is you have personally...
I don't think I am the most evil person in the world. I think I'm a working-class bloke who's leading a trade union in a dispute over jobs, pay and conditions.
I understand. If you don't want to be compared to the hood, probably better not to have the hood as your profile picture.
I think it's quite funny.
So do I. But I...
Look, obviously you don't, Piers. You seem mad about it. You're still talking... We're 1 minute 19 into this clip. You've been talking about fucking Facebook profile pictures this entire time. You're talking about Facebook profile pictures, Piers. And you're talking about a vinyl puppet from a TV series on a children's TV series from the 1960s. Rather than talking about anything about the rail strike or the economic conditions that led to the strike.
As I was a Thunderbirds fan... Is
that the level we're at, though? Don't you want to talk about the issues rather than a little vinyl puppet from the 1960s?
I'm simply trying to get inside the mindset of the man about to wreak havoc on the country. It makes me laugh, honestly, that you have the hood as your profile pic, because that's a man who wreaked havoc on the world.
And again, talking about him wreaking havoc, like Mick is the guy that's wreaking havoc. And always putting the blame for these situations on working class people. Just as, and frankly, grocery store, I always go back to grocery store workers because it's like, I think that was one sector of our economy and society that is just so undervalued, so just like tragically undervalued, especially during this time. And I think the value that grocery store workers like shelf stockers and employees and like checkout employees bring to our society is more than like 1,000 Piers Morgans. And I always go back to that as something, as particularly the insulting way that they were given this pay rise and then that was immediately taken away from them after 3 months. You know, it's just disgusting. And if grocery store workers in Canada or anywhere else, which is something that I would support and think would be a great thing to do and would hope that would happen eventually, started collectively getting together and decided to go on strike and shut down Canada's grocery stores, which would obviously have a huge impact on people's ability to get these products that they need. It would cause a whole bunch of problems. They would be absolutely justified to do this, though, because they do deserve a significant pay increase, a lot more than $2, especially considering the huge profits that these big grocery store chains are pulling in right now. And if they did do that, it would be the exact same situation where people would be talking about the evil, greedy grocery store workers causing all this chaos. And the scapegoat, like Outrun was saying, the scapegoat is always the working class people that are going on these things. And the actual conditions that are leading to the strikes, the conditions that are leading to these disputes, the reality of the immense, massive profits that these chains are making are just completely hand-waved away. And the blame always goes to the workers that are taking part in the action. And that's exactly like... that's exactly why you need Marxist analysis to understand these things, so you don't sound like a fucking asshole like Piers Morgan or any of these other media weirdos that are talking about this. Remember the episode where the Hood put the world in peril by demanding a living wage for rail workers? Yeah, while the owners of the rail companies are making billions of dollars. Like they had the audacity to say, though, they're on a pay freeze. And there's like, well, they make £600,000 a year. Like that's... Congratulations on freezing your income at £600,000 per year. Very altruistic of you. So that's the same thing. It's like if working people in any industry get together that are playing this vital role, whether it's rail workers, grocery store workers, or whoever else, when they get together and collectively bargain and strike, they get blamed for the chaos that ensues and not the fucking greedy capitalists and business owners that are exploiting them and that are exploiting this huge crisis as a way to earn record profits for themselves. Just like that's what, like all these business owners are all bragging to each other on like earnings calls right now, bragging about the record profits they're all making while they're simultaneously saying like, oh, people don't want to work anymore, where the inflation is happening because we gave people money to, pay for rent and stuff like that. That's what they're saying, right? UK Reign of Terror coming soon. Wouldn't we love that? Let's continue watching this, and then I have another thing to take a look at on that subject.
Well, it makes me laugh that your level of journalism has descended so far that you can't think of any other question rather than a thing about the Thunderbirds.
I didn't put that picture on your profile page.
Yeah, but you've chosen
to
spend 2 or 3 minutes in this
This is such a great headset.
I didn't put that picture on your profile page.
Yeah, but you've chosen to spend 2 or 3 minutes of this interview talking about an irrelevant.
Because you seem so irritated by the comparison. Well, because you seem so irritated by the comparison to the Hood.
I'm not irritated at all. I'm completely.
You seem very irritated.
Calmer than you are.
Well, I'm not.
You're not? This is your non-irritated phase, is it?
What point are you trying to prove, Piers? I mean,
I'm not trying to prove anything.
Succeeding.
You put it on your Facebook page. I'm simply asking. It's an odd choice for a union boss who's about to go on a series of strikes to have that as your choice.
To say about...
Fucking just embarrassing. So, and as he says, you put the profile picture, but it's like, yeah, you're the one that's choosing to talk about Facebook. You're the one that's choosing to talk about my Facebook profile this whole time. That's you that's making that choice. Are you triggered? Are you getting triggered by my questions, sir? Giving people $1,200 billion of their own money has ruined the economy. And like, it's so pervasive, this idea. It's so fucking pervasive. Like we were saying the other day, it's not even like rich media people like Bill Maher that believe this. It's working class people that benefit from this stuff, that believe this, that believe that if the government ever helps them do anything, that just causes inflation. And the economy gets overheated and it causes inflation. That's why you have to make sure wages are low so this economy doesn't get overheated like this. As if this isn't like a concerted effort on the part of the people that control these industries to just earn record profits. It's literally just price gouging. It's a price fixing scheme to make more money. And people have literally convinced working class people who would benefit from this kind of thing that the government social spending, only social spending, mind you, right? It's only social spending that causes the inflation. Spending, you can just snap your fingers and make $50 billion in javelin missiles appear to send to Ukraine, to send to a bunch of right-wing militias in Ukraine. That's fine. That doesn't cause inflation when the government spends money on that. The government spends money on all kinds of stuff. When the government spends $700 billion a year on defense, that's actually fine and good, and it's good for the economy to do that. But when the government spends a little bit of money making sure people can pay rent, that overheats the economy, you see, and it causes inflation. It's amazing how people believe this, and even working class people that would benefit from it. That's the really horrible thing. And that's why I think it's really cool and inspiring to see people like Mick going on TV and completely like dismantling that entire notion, which is patently false on its face, right? The thing about the Thunderbirds is just fucking amazing, though. And look, this is just a short clip. But if you want to understand why they're taking a stand here and why they feel the need to destroy this strike and not give in, here is exactly why. They'll explain it exactly. They'll admit to it for you.
We can't allow, I'm afraid, the unions in this very militant way that they've proceeded to win this argument. We can't allow, I'm afraid, the unions in this very militant way that they've proceeded to win this argument.
We can't allow the unions to win this argument because, as they know, who's this? As Ronan Burton-Shaw said, editor of Tribune magazine, if they win, if the RMT win, millions of workers will feel emboldened to fight for a pay rise, and the establishment knows it. That's exactly why this is like really important right now, not just for the UK, but for the whole world. Like every working person that's been going through this pandemic and has not gotten a pay rise in years in many cases, while their bosses are all raking in cash hand over foot. And there's another explicit way of stating it here in the Daily Mail. Summer strikes plague spreads. Teachers, doctors, bin men, barristers, and postmen could join rail workers in heaping walkout misery upon Britain. They feel like they need to destroy this union right now. They need to destroy them in this fight. Otherwise, it's going to send the wrong message to everybody. Everyone who is undervalued and underpaid in our society, who does all the work, who is with very little, without proper compensation, people are going to get the idea that, oh, we can actually withhold our labor and collectively bargain for better wages and conditions. That's the basic idea that this union drive is getting to people right now, right? And if you're part of the ruling class in the UK or elsewhere, you can't have this. And I mean, this is going to on this strike plague that they're talking about on a mass level. This is going to be the only answer for us, right? Moving forward, in terms of trying to change our economic system. Voting for Democrats is not going to do it. Voting for Democrats is not going to change our economic system. Voting for the NDP is not going to change our economic system. Voting for Keir Starmer and the Labour Party is not going to change our economic system. This is what will change it, though. Because without the people that are doing this basic work, this really important work, again, garbage men, postmen, nurses, doctors, teachers, rail workers, grocery store workers, our society doesn't work when they just stop going to work. When they just stop going to work, everything shuts down. That's the only thing that's ever going to really change anything. And Twitch streamers as well, by the way. Twitch streamers, maybe the most important and overlooked working class position that you can possibly have. Twitch streamers as well are part of that, with the working class garbage men or bin men and nurses and stuff. Yeah, a general strike is the best way to fight corporate fascism. Not even that, but I mean this assault on on civil rights and transgender rights and abortion rights as well. It's like this is the only thing they'll ever listen to, right? When the money machine stops, and we can, whether we realize we have this power or not, we control the money machine, and we can turn off the money machine at any time. And that's what the message needs to get to people. That as we see this kind of thing start to spread even more. With the Amazon union as well, and with this, I mean, that's really one of the only encouraging threads that is going on right now that we can follow. Twitch streamers of the vanguard. Thank you. More people should acknowledge this. Yeah. And Crabbiled as well. I also just wanted to thank you for breaking the huge story last night about podcaster and streamer Julian Field and his pee drinking, his live pee drinking that was going on. It took a lot of bravery to break that story, so I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Whistleblowers, you know, the whistleblowers. We gotta respect them. It takes a lot of courage. You're welcome. You're welcome. But you know, that's the main point, though. It's that's exactly why they feel the need to try to destroy this strike. That's exactly why I think a central component of the neoliberal era has been about destroying labor unions and eliminating the rights of workers to collectively bargain. It's been a central plank of the neoliberal era since the Reagan and Thatcher years. And that's exactly what's contributed to the level of economic inequality that we have now. That's exactly why, in terms of implementing this kind of privatization and unfair regressive tax system, what destroying labor unions was the first part of that, because without labor unions you can't get away with any of that bullshit. And this is we have to, everyone that, no matter what sector you work in, you have to understand the power that we have collectively to completely grind society to a halt. We can do it at any time. It's just going to take the will, and it's going to take really incredible, inspiring actions like this to send this message to people. I'm gonna have to unfollow Rib now because I heard him calling Julian a pee drinker. Thank you for high deafening my album cover too. That's cool, Ghost. I only had the shitty version, the old pixely version. It's nice to see. Thank you for that. Whistleblowing on my husband. Exactly. That makes it even more difficult, right? That makes it even more difficult when you got that personal connection. The stakes are even higher. That's why we appreciate your sacrifice. How dare these working class people not just sell their clothes and put on their barrels as ordered? Even middle class people are joining them in solidarity. Who's this headline for? The Queen. Well, it exposes the rift with the British journalist class and the working class, doesn't it? And I think none of this is working as well. And that's a testament to Mick in this situation as well. It's not working, and that these strikes are still popular, even though they are leading to people being inconvenienced. I bet our entire economy would be more efficient and productive if we had unions. It's really just the absolute top benefiting from this shit show. Yeah, it's like, and people, whether people have been exposed to Marxist language or not, people intrinsically understand that they're being exploited, right? And that's why it's like you don't have to be a Marxist to engage in this kind of analysis and make people. That's the brilliance and the genius of Marx, and the genius of Marxist analysis is that, like, again, it's not even about Marx. That's why it's a scientific process of just observing these like phenomena and writing it down and recording it. That's why it's so valuable, because people will understand that they're being exploited, and when you explain things to them in these terms, they understand it instantly. We get a lot of strikes in France compared to the US, and each time they try to pull off the same propaganda about how the workers striking are enemies of the working class because they inconvenience people on their way to work. And yeah, and to France's credit, a lot of people don't buy that, and that's exactly why in places like France you have like 6 weeks vacation time, and you have these like workers' rights, because they know full well that when they start taking away those rights, they're going to get the whole society is going to go into chaos mode. Everyone knows they're being exploited. Some just choose to live with it in the hope that they become the exploiters later in life. And yeah, that's where the propaganda comes in, right? And how the people, even like I was saying before, even people that will benefit from social spending and labor unions, and people who benefit from union activity, just like the same way that like we all have been, whether you're in a union or not, you all benefit from labor power and worker power. That's why we have weekends. That's why we have an 8-hour workday. That's why everyone has that, regardless, although not so much in the gig economy now that that's going away as well. But these basic worker protections, that's why they exist, is because of unions and strikes and the people that had to bleed and sweat for it, while often getting the shit beat out of them by police.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh, my Pelicans. Thank you so much, Pelicans. Rob will understand how embarrassing it is for me to have lost my credit card at the fucking Mad Hatter's pub in Montreal. Anyway, having finally received a new one, here's some gift subs. Thank you, Pelicans. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Do I have another Mick clip? I think that's all of them. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. I've got to go in about 20 minutes. There's a couple of other things we can take a look at. And if anyone else is watching and it's your first time in the stream and you do have a Prime sub, or you want to subscribe to the channel and get the emotes, some of the best emotes on this platform, you can do that. I know we have hit the sub goal, which is really wonderful. I also was a little short yesterday, so I'm trying to make up the difference. And I don't believe I'll be streaming on Friday. I did promise a full week this week, but I don't believe I will be streaming on Friday. So keep that in mind. No pressure, though. No pressure.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob.
Oh, look at that. K Jart. Look at that. A Prime sub from K Jart. Thank you, K Jart. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Love to see new community members. New Prime subs. That's very exciting. Okay. Good. Okay, so let's just look at a few quick things. Oh, should we do the damn news, or you know what? You know what? You know what? You know, I picked up a number of followers here on Twitch because of that viral tweet about trains, and I promised train content. And you know what? I think now is a great time to take a look at some trains. How could workers be so selfish to demand a basic pay rise in line with inflation? They're evil wreckers, but don't question the bosses of these companies getting millions in dividends and bonuses they didn't earn. Bosses being paid millions and profit is important for the economy, unlike workers being able to afford basic goods. I mean, that's the absolute backwards way that we talk about these things. That's right. And that's exactly why Marxist analysis is so important. Check this shit out, though. While we're talking about train unions of train workers, what do we think about this, though? It's really loud. Sorry. Look at how fast that shit is. That's so fucking fast. That is so fast. That's ridiculously fast. Here we got one at 3. Here's 300K. Because this is just going through the station. So this is not full high speed. Here's full 300K. This could be us. If we could build infrastructure in Canada or the United States anymore, this could be us. Obviously we can't. That's not an option. All our billions of dollars that could be going towards infrastructure goes into Elon Musk's bank account so we can create fake technology that doesn't exist and just waste everyone's time for over 10 years that we could have been competing with this. This is what we spend our billions of dollars that could be going to infrastructure on. And even though they just passed a big infrastructure bill, is any trains being built? Any train tracks? Or is it just going all to like these big corrupt construction companies? Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's coming. Hodel.
You might blow the whistle. Careful, you're leaning. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just looking at those pictures.
Any moment now. Oh. That's so sick, dude. This could be us, but we plan. And yeah, like Raul was saying, they operate these trains at a loss so people can ride them. And people have said that's why you can't. China's train system, we like to talk about it, but it's not even profitable. And it's like, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's not profitable. They don't build public infrastructure for profit. They use these semi-private industries, fund all this infrastructure, and they operate it at a loss. And that's cool as hell. The accidents must be on another level. I don't think there's been one, because if there, you know what I mean? Like Aberlin, if there had been an accident in one of these trains, believe me, we would hear about it nonstop. That would be a major news story if there was an accident with one of these trains. If there had been one, we would have heard about it. Absolutely. Just like the Postal Service used to be, it wasn't meant for profit. It is a service. I mean, that's been just beaten out of us, hasn't it? This whole idea that like that's the government's role should be to provide these like services that people benefit from. What a crazy concept in our society, right? You pay taxes, and then the government takes that tax money and builds things that can like help you do stuff. That can help you send mail and get around the country cheaply and quickly. What a crazy concept. I know in our society it's been so like it's so foreign to us this kind of transaction where we pay taxes and get services and get things back for our taxes that we pay. I know it's completely beaten out of us that we should expect our government or anyone to do anything that actually helps improve our lives at all. We are profit cucked. Exactly. I mean, our society's so sick that you have people like sitting around the kitchen table, working class people, worried about the deficit of the United States and worried about like social spending causing inflation. That's how fucking backwards everything is. If I don't directly benefit, I'm against it. That's in Japan, though. Do you mean this train? I didn't really look into it. I only wanted to show this as an example because I know it's like capturing the full speed like 300k. But they're like this is the top speed for a lot of the high speed rail that's being built. It's the Shinkansen. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I only saved this because I knew it was an example of the 300k, the full high speed being captured. Thank you, John. The top 10 fastest trains are in China. Yeah. That's the thing. I'm not sure that I haven't seen a video that actually captures one of the full speed Chinese trains. I've started watching train riding vids from Japan lately. Oh, that sounds fun. We like those. Best song about trains, Midnight Train to Georgia. I mean, obviously that's a good one. I talked about Guns N' Roses earlier, so I would also say Night Train by Guns N' Roses. Okay, thank you, John.
So did we miss it? No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. 431 kilometers an hour. $20 round trip. So did we miss it?
Well, yeah.
My goodness. I took the Shinkansen in Japan, and me and my friends got snacks and settled in with headphones, etc. And the train got to the next city in like 5 minutes. It's pretty amazing to see this level of infrastructure in other countries, and just the absolute inability of our government to deliver anything close to this. Pretty amazing stuff. They have comprehensive infrastructure at what cost? Well, that's it. These like Chinese industrialists are not profiting from it. They're not profiting from it. No one thought about their shareholders. We haven't even talked about their shareholders and their stock options. What does it mean for that? That's the question. The shareholders are crying, shitting, and throwing up. That's right. They'll never have a prosperous economy like the USA. Look at the big numbers we have in our crypto accounts. That's right. Imagine having to do a shareholder call and say you lost money. We lost money and it's actually illegal for you to complain about it. And if you do complain about it, bad things are going to happen to you. Well, gang. Well, fam. This was a fun one. This is cool and all, but where's the Hyperloop? It would be really cool if it was going way slower and it was a single car in a tunnel. That would be really cool. I've hated crypto the entire time, and I'm pretty shook about what's going on in El Salvador. They tied their national currency to the goddamn crypto. I know, Tex. I mean, like, you want to make fun of them. You want to make fun of their weird crypto president for doing this, right? But at the same time, it's like people are going to, their whole economy is going to be destroyed ultimately. That's going to have huge consequences for many people in the country. It already is. But the tunnel has LED lights. That's right. There's no bisexual lighting on those trains. The New Jacobin has a great article comparing U.S. to Spanish trains. Short answer, no unions is a huge problem. It does seem to be a common thread. And like I was saying before, that there's a reason why destroying labor unions and destroying the rights of workers to collectively bargain was a signature plank of the neoliberal era. I mean, for that exact reason. You know what? You know what? I was gonna raid DJ Mule, who's a very good streamer, and I support DJ Mule. And I was gonna raid DJ Mule, but I just saw that community member Sean Meat is going live, so that was pretty harsh. But since Sean Meat is a valued community member, he went live just as soon as I was pressing the raid button. That was ice cold. I'm sorry. DJ Mule, if you're watching this, I appreciate you. You're a wonderful person and a great streamer, and I apologize. No one warned him. Yeah, Sean is he's gonna get flustered. Sean Mead is going to get flustered over this. Not even started. This is fine. You can farm the raid cancel drama later. Okay, that sounds good. So I'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern. Noon Eastern sharp, folks. That's 1 a.m. Pyongyang time. If you're on Pyongyang time, 1 a.m. tomorrow. Noon Eastern. I'll talk to you then. Noon Eastern. That's right, Ghost. Talk to you tomorrow.